Hello everyone and welcome back to another AFK journey video. In this video we're going to be talking about Sinbad, which is the hot topic of the season so far. He has been seeing a lot of meta use in Dream Realm, but I want to kind of evaluate actually how useful is he. And decide, do you want to spend your season tokens on him or not to build him on your account? Okay, now on this account, my main account, I don't have the twins built. And that means there's actually only one team where I'm using Sinbad so far. And it is today's boss, which is Lucia the Unveiler. Sinbad is the best option for me. Even though I have Sinbad at Supreme plus 10 exclusive equipment, he is still going to be the strongest team I can put together. So definitely having Sinbad did give me a pretty good boost for this specific boss. For the other bosses, I've been able to put together a team which does better than any Sinbad team I'm able to run. It might be because my Sinbad isn't fully invested, but he's pretty much there. He's at Supreme plus 10 exclusive equipment, which is pretty high. So basically what I want to mention is that Sinbad is not really, really important for your account. You can get by without him. And the other thing you have to realize is even though he's really strong right now, he is going to fall off when we get to Endless. He's probably going to see no use when we get to Endless bosses. He's only good right now because he has the same kind of effect of Rainier, causing the target, the boss, to take increased damage from your team. Now that is not going to help your HP per second damage dealers for Endless bosses. And that is why in Endless, most likely Sinbad is not going to be meta. But for pre-Endless right now, he is meta in certain bosses. The other reason he's good is he provides the attack debuff onto the boss, which is pretty important for the stage we're at, because that is going to allow your team to survive longer and get off more damage. And survival is kind of the issue when you're talking about pre-Endless bosses. So that is why Sinbad is good. Now, I do think Sinbad is a good hero. And I think that eventually everyone on their account should build Sinbad. However, the thing is, what is the opportunity cost of building Sinbad? That is the thing you have to consider. And basically, if you have all of your Dream Realm heroes built, for example, we're looking at the season store right now. If you have all of these heroes built, or most of them, then you can begin prioritizing Sinbad. So I want to talk about kind of the priority guide for Sinbad from the season store. If you have leftover season tokens, then you should, if you should go for him, or should you save for the future, or should you focus on specific heroes? So overall, it is going to be important for you to take to Supreme Plus Lily May, Ludovic, Mikola. These are the three key heroes you need to get upgraded. These are the most important upgrades. Alamis as well is important to Mythic Plus, doesn't need to be Supreme Plus, and that is for AFK stages. So these are the four heroes, and really when you dumb it down to three heroes, it is the top three are Mikola, Ludovic, and Lily May because of how good they are in Dream Realm. Lily May has kind of been falling out of relevancy in Dream Realm, which is a little bit sad to see. However, I think she is still going to see some good use, especially in Endless bosses, due to her true damage. Mikola is still a top tier buffer, very important to get from the season store, and you need to get her to Supreme Plus for maximum effect. Ludovic is not useful right now, but you want to plan for the future, and for Endless bosses, his HP per second damage is very high, especially with the skill power he gets from his charms. He is going to be a top option, again, for Endless bosses, most likely. So these three heroes are going to be must-haves. You want to get them to Supreme Plus. If you have all of them at Supreme Plus and you have leftover season tokens, then it is time to go for Alamis and get Alamis to Mythic Plus or above to Supreme Plus, because he will help you for AFK stages. If all four of those heroes are done, then you can begin going for Sinbad. Now I think Sinbad will take priority over Lenya, because Lenya is not as dominant so far in this season in pre-Endless bosses as compared to Sinbad. Sinbad is doing better than Lenya. And so I would recommend you going for Sinbad and taking him all the way to Supreme Plus. Another thing which is really important though, if you did not recruit for Sonya and you're missing quite a few copies of her, you need to save season tokens so that when Sonya comes out to the season store, you will be able to immediately buy her 2 copies and get her upgraded. Because Sonya is such an important hero for bosses. Sonya honestly is as important as Mikola pretty much. They're both even more important than Lily May and Ludovic. Sonya and Mikola have kind of become the meta heroes for Dream Realm because Sonya's buffs are so valuable. So Sonya is really important to get. But let's say you have enough for her, or maybe you already recruited for her, you don't have any other priority from the shop. Forget about your Paragon upgrades for now and go for Sinbad to Supreme Plus. That is my honest recommendation, and that is what I'm going to do on this account. I need 13 more copies for Sinbad to take up to Supreme Plus. And I mean, I'm just gonna go for it. Like, there's no real harm in going for it. You could also, like, if you get him to Mythic Plus, you do not need to take him to Supreme Plus. You could gradually have him on your wish list and get him up there. Like, for example, he's working at Supreme for me right now, even in the top team for Lucia for me, and that has allowed me to get rank 3 in my server using the Sinbad at Supreme. So he can definitely work as Supreme. You don't need to take him to Supreme Plus, and like that, it would be also a good budget option. Take him to Mythic Plus and get the rest of his copies from the wish list. That is totally fine if you want to do that. And I'm kind of still undecided if that's what I'm going to do, if I'm just going to buy his copies right now. But buying the copies are not a bad idea either. Basically, this is what you should do, and this is why I recommend it, and I made it really important. Do not pick up this Abyssal Essence. Don't waste your season tokens, because this is such a valuable resource. You never know when you're going to need it. And it's going to help you with Paragon upgrades. That's what I'm working on now on my main account. I'm working on Ludovic Paragon upgrades because I had him at Supreme Plus. I bought 2 copies from this season store because I want to take him to Paragon, because it's just free upgrades you can get with your season tokens. So, and now I still have a lot left over. So yeah, Sinbad is going to be really good for you, and more of a priority than Lenya, more of a priority than Soren, more of a priority than Elsa, Nara. These heroes are not really important anymore, and Nara only needs 1 copy for AFK stages. The next up in the season store, we're going to have Tasi and Luca, which should be coming sometime next month, and out of those 2, none are really top priorities anymore. Tasi hasn't been that needed for AFK stages, and for PvP she's fine, but I don't think she is overwhelmingly strong. But again, she could be a nice hero for you to upgrade for the long term of your account. And then you have, after that, it will be Hodgkin and Hugin. Out of those 2, Hugin has been kind of useful for AFK stages. I like his kit. I think it has uses for the future for different game modes, so I would recommend Hugin. Hodgkin is up to you, because he was good for Ravage Run, but that was pretty much it. And then finally, we're going to have Sonya and Bonnie. And out of those 2, Sonya is the must pull. Sonya is the most important. If you haven't already gone for her, you need to have that saved up for. But that is a long time down the road, right? That's probably going to be at least 2 or 2.5 months more before we're even going to have access to Sonya. And then Bonnie is good for PvP and AFK stages. So overall, Sinbad is going to be a priority for you guys. Like, if I had to prioritize everything, like I mentioned, Sonya, Mikola, Lily May, Ludovic, these are the must pulls. Tasi is nice to have, but not needed. And out of the A levels, it's Almas for AFK stages and Sinbad for Dream Realm now, pre-endless bosses. And then after that, it could be Lenya. She has some niche use in Dream Realm, but not as dominant as Sinbad. And it could be the other A levels, Hugin, maybe potentially for the future. Bonnie had some use in Dream Realm and is good for AFK stages. But yeah, Sinbad is really going to be one of the higher priority A level heroes now to get from the season store. And I think if you have the season tokens, you can get all 16 copies of him if you need it, and try to get him to Mythic Plus as quickly as you can, because then he will become online. Even at Mythic Plus, use Acorns, upgrade him to Supreme, and give him like even +5 exclusive equipment. He'll begin to be your best option, at least for Lucia the Unveiler. He was the best for me. And for other bosses, we'll have to wait and see. But Sinbad is going to be somewhat of a priority to focus on your account. So that is really the point of this video. That's what I wanted to talk about. If we just want to recap the Dream Realm teams, you can see my performance and what I've been talking about. The only one which has been using Sinbad is today, Lucia the Unveiler. But that is because in Lone Gaze, I had Taylene. Otherwise, maybe I would be using a no twins version of a Sinbad team. And then in Cray Shellbrute, like Odie was doing almost as well as Sinbad if you didn't have the twins. And then Sinbad or Odie both did kind of the same. And because my Odie, everyone's Odie is probably going to be most invested. Like, that is a great team to run. It did better for me than Sinbad. So yeah, that is pretty much what I wanted to talk about in this video. Hopefully this is helpful for you guys, and good luck if you would swap Sinbad. I think a lot of people did swap Sinbad for Bonnie. Don't feel too bad about it, because honestly speaking, Sinbad is still kind of in the niche category, but definitely he is more of a priority for your account than ever before. So, and you can, even if you can't get him to Mythic Plus by this pre-end this for this season, you can get him there by pre-end this for future seasons, and that is going to probably come into play somehow. And also, just to mention, twins are a priority for you to recruit now if you have Freesto built to Supreme Plus. After that, I recommend twins and taking them all the way to Supreme Plus. I think you can safely begin recruiting for them we have seen a preview of Cryonea. It doesn't look like she's going to be too useful for Dream Realm based on the preview we've seen. Who knows what can actually happen. So, but I'm saying, and the twins have already shown and proven themselves basically that they are worthy of recruiting for. So I think you can begin recruiting for them and not hold back. But anyway, guys, that's gonna be it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll hopefully see you in the next video. If you want to chat with me more or ask me any questions, you can join my AFK Journey Discord server. There's a link to that in the description of this video. We have almost 2,000 members right now, which is crazy, and people are very active over there, and I also respond frequently. But thanks for watching, guys. I'll hopefully see you in the next video, and until then, everyone, peace out for now.